I'm Fazal Sheikh, and I'm a photographer. In 2000, I returned to some of the refugee camps in Kenya, where I had photographed in the early 1990s. While I found that many women face the same problems that existed when I first visited, I also found activists fighting for their rights. Abshiro Aden Mohammed, a women's leader in the Somali refugee camp at Dagahali, Kenya, gave me the following letter to the outside world. In our culture, men and women are not the same. When a mother gives birth to a boy, there will be the gift of a camel for the son, in the expectation that when he is a man, that one camel will have sired a whole herd, and his birthright will start him out in the world. When the son marries, his mother will become part of his family. Any troubles that she encounters later in life will be met with his aid. When the newborn child is a girl, there is nothing for her. She will have no inheritance to start her out in life, and she will remain at home, doing the domestic work as her brothers go to school and to the madrasa, the Quranic school. When a girl is around 7 years old, she must be given the pharaoh's circumcision. Her clitoris and the labia will be removed, after which the opening is stitched shut, leaving a small space to allow urine and menstrual fluid to pass through. Circumcision is proof of her virginity. Without it, she will have no value and receive no respect from her family. It is a mark of the girl's belonging to a male head of the family, whose rights will be violated and wrath incurred if she is sexually invaded. This authority over the girl must be kept pure so that it can be transferred to the spouse's family in marriage. Often before the marriage, the girl is inspected by the family of her husband-to-be. Many believe that only with circumcision will the wife be presentable to her husband, able to satisfy him, keep him, and bear his children. When the husband is away for long periods of time, he will be sure of his wife's fidelity during his absence. But when the girl later consummates her marriage and gives birth to a child, there is the risk of infection, and young women can lose a great deal of blood, sometimes even die. The daughter may be married at a very young age, and she has no power to choose her husband. She can be married without love. If she is unlucky, she will join a family that treats her badly and discriminates against her. But she may at first be fortunate, working with her husband to help him succeed and accumulate wealth. Often, when the husband becomes wealthy, the riches will turn his eye towards a younger bride. With a new wife in the house, the first wife may be divorced and sent from the husband's home back to her own parents. The children will remain with the husband, and the divorced wife will be forced to appeal to the sheikh and Sharia law in the hope of winning the right to have some of the children. If the woman has given birth to boys, they will take care of her when she grows old. But if the woman has borne only girls, who later join the families of their husbands, they will have no responsibility for her, and she will be left alone. When the war came to our country, Somali culture broke down completely. During the fighting, a clan was responsible for paying the blood money to compensate the members of a family whose relative had been killed. A dead man's family would be given 100 camels by the clan of the killer, but for the woman, 50 camels were required. When we fled Somalia and settled in Dagahali, I became the women's leader. In the past 9 years of life here in the camp, I have seen many things, and I have listened to many problems of women refugees. In the early days of living here, hundreds of women were attacked in the surrounding bush when they ventured away from the camp to fetch firewood. Sometimes we would walk many hours to gather enough fuel for the family. It is there in the bush that we are at greatest risk of rape. When such things happen to girls, they will no longer be marriageable. But still, with the inter-clan feuds, women don't want the men to go into the bush, because the women will only be raped, but the men will be killed. During my time in the Kenyan refugee camps, I have seen a woman who was caught in the bush by several men. They tied her legs to 2 trees while she was standing. They raped her many times, and before leaving her they put stones in her vagina. I have seen old women raped by children and babies defiled by adults. 3 times I have seen newborn babies left lying on the ground. In all of the cases, the babies later died. They had been abandoned by mothers who were afraid of having an illegal pregnancy. I have seen our men sitting and playing beneath the shade trees while their families sat at home, hungry and penniless. I've seen a man selling his wife's clothes to get money for Mira. I have seen men divorcing their wives in the morning out of anger and returning in the afternoon, calling her wife. In the Somali of the past where I was raised, I've experienced privilege, peace, and tranquility. The ability of people to listen to one another has been lost, or these events would never happen. Today in Somalia, killing has become a normal value. The Quran says that women must be honored and not mistreated, disturbed and frustrated. If a person does not fear and respect Allah, how can he respect a human being?